Dragon Ball Super Fusion World Set 4 Ultra Limit has finally reached the digital client, and today I'll be sharing with you guys a deck list for every single new leader. Yeah, that's right, that's all 7 of them, including the new starter deck leaders. So be sure to leave a like, save the video for future reference, and let's dive right on in, starting with the Mini Goku Daima leader. Now before we break down this entire deck here, let's talk about the leader and its ability. So once it's awakened, it has the activate main ability once per turn, where you could choose up to one of your battle cards and pretty much buff it by 5k for the turn. Then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and give it minus 5k. Because of this, I really feel like this has a flexible combination of aggro and control in this deck. For example, for control, we have our 1-drop Whis here that can also do another minus 5k. We have our 2-drop Fuas here that can do minus 15k when they're played, and they provide 10k combo. We've got our 3-drop SR Sun Goku, the blue Goku that just self-awakens for you, but also pops a 20k power or less. We have our 4-drop Helis here that on play, you get to choose up to one of your opponent's cards with 30k power or more and give them minus 20k power for the turn. Then of course we have our Jiren here, which is just so good at controlling the tempo and making sure one of the attacks and damage you takes essentially does nothing because it just gets replaced with the top card of your deck. But this mainly helps you cycle for the rest of the cards in your deck. Then of course we have the secret rare Sun Goku, Ultra Instinct Goku, whatever you want to call it. I only have 1 copy of this. I guess a really good deck would at least run 2, maybe 3. So if you have a couple extra, then you can definitely remove some cards to include this. I don't think you need 4 copies of this, that's for sure. Anyway, on play, until the end of your opponent's next turn, you negate the next damage you take, which is insane. But on top of that, when attacking, choose all of your opponent's battle cards and they get minus 20k power for the turn. More control. This thing is nuts. And if you thought we were done, let's check out the extra cards. We have It's Over, which if you have a battle card with 30k power or more, which you definitely will have, I'll show you how. Choose all of your opponent's battle cards with 25k power or less and knock them out. And then we also have this God Kamehameha, which only costs 1 if you have no battle cards. And then you could also pop one of your opponent's 30k power or less. How is this an aggro deck, you ask? Well, it's more so like a finisher aggro, mainly with cards like this, where if your leader's awakened for 2 energy, you play this and it's 30k. This thing is 30k and it gets to swing for 2. So if you have 6 energy and you have 3 of these in your hand, you're swinging for 30k 3 times. But that's not all. We also have this guy right here, where if you have the other Daima, Goku on the board, then this ability just procs and you draw a card. But even if you don't, you can use your leader's ability to buff this guy up to 30k and then activate the ability to, when attacking, draw a card. And then we also have our single Kefla that can bring out our top Vegeta right here that can swing for, what is it, 50k? Excuse me, what? Yeah, great finishers all in all. And then if you combo things like your Margarita, you can just get so strong and so huge on the board. And mind you, we also have this Goku right here that is a great finisher as well as great at controlling the entire game. What else do we have? We have our 1-drop draws here, but also the 3 copies of this Searcher. It only looks like the top 3 cards, which isn't terrible, but it does look for Universe 7 cards, so things like your right here, your Son Goku, and you're not feeling terrible because it's only the top 3 cards. You're not bottom decking like 4 other cards could have been really good, right? So I feel like this card is actually pretty good. This deck is a nice mix of everything. So if you're looking to control the battle and go aggressive when you need to, well then this mini control deck list might be for you. But now let's check out the Prince of Cost Reduction. You'll see why in a second. First, let's talk about the leader. Once you're awakened, it has the activate main once per turn. For 1 energy, you are going to have to manage your energy resources. You choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 1 or less and bottom deck them. Now, at first glance, this is a horrible ability. It's not that great. However, the rest of this deck makes this kind of a broken ability. You'll see why in a second. Reducing your opponent's costs never got so easy. This whole deck is about cost reduction. First, let's talk about the 1-drop Mai, where on play, you get to reduce one of your opponent's cards by 1 cost. Then we have the Hercule here. Again, on play, does the exact same thing, and it's a blocker, right? That's pretty cool. We already know what the Vegeta does if you have 7 or fewer cards in your hand, everything on your opponent's side is minused by 1 cost. And then also on play, if your opponent has a cost of 1 or less, you just bottom deck them. That's always great. And then we have the Piccolo here, where you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and reduce its cost by 1 for the turn. Then, if your opponent has a battle card with a cost of 2 or less, draw a card. So it acts as a draw engine too. But also, let's talk about this guy. This guy is actually 4 copies. I have 3 of the regular ones, and then we have the alt art here, where for 2 energy, you play it, and if you have 7 cards or fewer in your hand, it becomes a 20k body, right, to swing. But also, when attacking, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and reduce its cost by 2 for the turn. Excuse me, what? Who thought this was a good idea? So just across all of these cards, right, and we're not done yet. We still have other cards that reduce the cost. That's just insane, right? Let's look at this extra card here, Vegeta's Battle Armor, where you get to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, reduce its cost by 1, and then if your leader is Vegeta, which it is, draw a card. So even more synergy in this deck. And now who takes advantage of this? Well, obviously Sinister Sickle, right? Because everything is definitely less than 4 cost at this point. But also we have our son Gohan Adolescent here, the Sickle City Gohan, which is pretty much, again, super strong in this type of deck. And then we have the new Double Striker Vegeta from Daima, where you get to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 3 or less and bottom deck it. And then if you have 7 or fewer cards, draw a card. Like, this deck is kind of cracked, you guys, and it makes it very, very obvious that this leader is going to be a huge threat in this upcoming meta. Oh, I didn't even talk about this guy. With all this damage reduction, yeah, Zamasu comes in and just pops pretty much anything. And then, of course, we have 2 Zenos here, just to round out the deck. But yeah, this deck is just so mean and really strong into the current meta, which is favoring wide boards. So this Prince of Cost Reduction might just be a meta deck. Only time will tell. All right, now it's time to get into the other leaders, not the starter deck leaders, and we're going into Ultra Instinct Goku. Oh man, this thing is so annoying. Here's the deck list overall. Again, we only have 1 copy of our Secret Rare Son Goku, so I'm just going to let you guys know, if you have at least 3, you can drop 2 of these Friezas, so drop 2 of them and add them, or you can drop 2 of the Tournament of Powers and add 2 more here. It's really up to you. But now let's talk about the overall deck real quick. The leader does not draw once awakened, so you have to remember that, like, once you're awakened and you attack, you're not drawing. However, you can activate battle once per turn on your turn or your opponent's turn, and you get to choose any battle card in the battle area, yours or your opponent's, and then just change this card's original power to be the exact same as that card. This thing is just, it's so annoying. It literally is so annoying. If you have this guy on the board, defensively and offensively, you have 2 40Ks on the board. Like, it's it's so annoying. But beyond just that kind of broken ability, the amount of control you get in this deck is a little insane. We have our Whis here, we have our, drawing with our Piccolos, we have our Margaritas for the end game, and then we have 4 copies. We're running 4 copies of this Shin to help us find our cards because we definitely need them. We have 2 Fuas for more control, and then we have this guy. So once you're awakened, you play this, and now even if you don't have your 40k on the board, now you can pull with your leader's ability this 30k, because the permanent ability is it adds 10k on your turn and your opponent's turn because it's permanent. So now you essentially have a 30k leader offensively and defensively at least once on either side of that. Then we have 2 of the Kato Pesla. One day I'm going to be able to actually say the name correctly. And then we have 4 copies of the Son Gohan that damage reduces by 15k. And then we have 2 of our Kabas here that help us bring back tournament power cards, mainly our Kefla here. We want to bounce that back. But we're also running this Ultra Instinct Goku for more control. Damage reduced by 15k. And then when you knock out a card in battle, it deals 1 damage to your opponent. This is just pretty good in synergy with cards like this right here. Where is it? The Sphere of Destruction, where you get to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with 25k power or less, knock it out, and then if they have 4 life or more, you deal 1 damage to your opponent. So something like this into your Ultra Instinct Goku 4-drop is pretty strong, to be honest. That you could easily take your opponent from 4 energy down to 2. And there's nothing they can really do about it. Then we have this 5-cost Frieza. Again, I'm running 4 in this deck, but you can run 2 and just, put the rest in the other, into the secret rare. But on play, if your leader has Universe 7, which it does, right here. Let me show you guys right there, Universe 7, which it does. Then until the end of your opponent's next turn, this card can't be removed from the battle area by your opponent's skills. And it gets plus 20k, which means it's a 45k. I can't count. It's a 5k on the board, which means your boy here is also a 45k on the board. We also have 2 double strikers, and then we have our 4 super combos, 2 tournament of power field cards. It's over just to blow up the opponent's side of the board, and then some more control with the God Kamehameha. Yeah, this thing is kind of nuts. Still a very strong deck, especially with the leader's ability. However, I don't think it is the best deck in the format. In fact, I think that might belong to a brand new leader that we're going to talk about shortly. But now let's move on to Mystic Gohan, everyone's favorite character. In fact, I already made a video on this specific deck. It goes way too hard, harder than it honestly should, to be honest. I did not expect this to be as good. Spoiler alert, you can cheese this guy out by turn 4. Like, what? Who thought that was a good idea? Anyway, the leader's ability, once awakened, discards 1 card from your hand, and then during this turn, the next time you use an extra with both Saiyan and Earthling in its special traits from your hand, reduce the cost by 2. What does that mean? That means the 2 extra cards here that are 5 actually cost 3. Now, what is that? Why is that good? Mainly because of these 2 cards right here, your Gotenks and your Sickle City Gohan. You want to send them to your drop as fast as possible. Honestly, you could probably do this guy too, right? Anyway, once all of those cards are in your drop, you can use things like Pan to send those cards. You can use your leader's ability to send those cards. It really doesn't matter. And you also have to be awakened, right? So which is why we have this Mai here, and we also have this 2-drop mini Majin Buu. Mind you, this is like Naze in the yellow card group, where it forces you to self-awaken. This isn't a choice, so be careful. If you're already awakened, you're not going to play this card, right? So once you're awakened and these guys are in your drop, well, then you can play both of these cards. This is really good if you want to just play a 4-drop Saiyan or less. You can do this, right? And then the following turn on, what is it, turn 3, if you've already if you self-awakened by turn 2, right, with 2 Mais back to back, or however you did that, maybe turn 3, let's just say turn 3, then you could play this guy, and then by turn 4, use its ability. Hopefully you have 10 cards in your drop to then play this from your hand. It is absurd, right? Let's just say we don't have that exact line. Well, then you could do this. Use this card to bring out your Sickle City Gohan, which can bottom deck 2 of your opponent's 3 costs or less. But even if they have a 4-drop, guess what? This card resolves before the Gohan's ability, so it reduces one of your opponent's battle cards by 1, which means that 4-drop becomes a 3, and now they're in the bottom of the deck. This deck works so well. Also, I forgot to mention that this Vegeta's ability works on this Vegeta as well. So there's so much synergy. You get these huge bodies on the board. Again, this 6-drop, I don't know if you guys know this, you don't lose the game when you have 0 cards in your deck. So that's the whole strategy, is just mill out your own deck. Once you mill out your deck, this card becomes a 50k, and it can restand itself, bounce a card back to the opponent's hand, mill out more of your deck, the top 5 cards of your deck. Well, at that point, if you have the 50k, the 10k bonus for 50k, you're not milling anymore, and pretty much swing twice, right? This thing is absurd. The only issue is this is kind of a very aggro deck. You want to finish the game very quickly. If you get to the point where you're playing like green and they get their big body Brolys or something where they can just pop this guy, you lose the game. You're at 0. This guy gets removed from the board. You just lose the game. So you don't want to do that. But yeah, there you have it. If you want to try the new drop deck gimmick, then this might be the deck for you. All right, now it's time to talk about the Prince of Energy Manipulation, Vegeta. At first, I didn't really understand what this means, right? Like, green is all about ramping fast, getting as much energy as possible. What do you mean we want to stay at 4 energy or less? And it makes sense, you guys. So check this out. This leader, once awakened, activate May once per turn, place 1 of your energy into the owner's drop. Then if you have 4 or less energy, play up to 1 Saiyan only battle card with the cost of 3 or less from your hand. Who is this? It's this vanilla Vegeta. There's a reason why we have this, okay? It's this Son Goku, which I guess we could talk about the ability right now. When attacking, if attacking a battle card with a cost of 4 or more, this card becomes 50k. for the battle, I'm sorry, then place one card from your energy into your drop. So now you just lost 2 energy that turn. It kind of sucks. You're like, why would you want to do this? I'm going to walk you through the steps. End of your turn, if an energy is placed into the owner's drop by this card's skill, draw a card and then add this card to the energy. So you get that energy back. You don't actually lose. You've only lost 1 energy based on this leader's ability to bring this guy out onto the board. Then you have Nappa here, which you can bring out to the board, where it helps you self-awaken if you aren't already. However, I mean, if you use the leader's ability, you already are self-awakened. And then if you have no Vegeta battle card, this card can attack, and you have to choose one of these, right? Which is why we have the vanilla Vegeta. Hopefully they are on the board when you start playing your Nappas. So now your Nappa can just swing for 30k, right? And then we have this Raditz, which helps you bring back a Saiyan only from your drop with a cost of 3 or less back into your hand so you can play it, right? But you're still thinking like, oh, we're losing that 1 energy. Wait, no, hold up. We have the artificial full moon, you guys. End of your turn, if you have 4 or less energy, which you do, and you placed a card from your energy into the owner's drop during this turn, not the battle now. It's during the entire turn. So you activating your leader's ability with this field card out, then you get to add up to 1 card with the cost of 3 or more from your drop to your energy in rest mode. So you essentially get that energy right back. But that's not all, you guys. There is so much to this deck. We have Master Roshi here because you might honestly want to start sending any of these extra cards into your energy early on, and Master Roshi can literally bring it back for you. We have our 1-drop draw here. We have this Gohan, which is a self-awakener, but also becomes a 20k if that field full moon card is out. And then we have Yamcha, who's surprisingly actually pretty cracked. If you have a battle card with a cost of 3 or more in your drop, which you definitely do with this deck, for 1 energy, you get to bring out a 20k swing, which is, again, Yamcha is actually doing things, excuse me, what? And we're not really trying to get our energy too high. I don't think we want to get past 4, maybe 5, right? Actually, maybe not even 5, to be honest. So that way you can actually activate the abilities. But if you do happen to get up to 6 energy, you can play your Great Ape Vegeta, which place 1 card from your energy into the owner's drop. So it goes down to 5. You're kind of good there. Then if your leader is a Saiyan, which it is, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and blow it up. Cost of 5, they're gone. Pretty strong card. But that's not all. Let's talk about the extra cards that are in this deck. A Warm Greeting is an insane card for green because now they have a checkmate for Jiren, they have a checkmate for red, just so many other blue, right? Black, yellow. They want to play a powerful, oppressive 4 costs or less. Guess what? Warm Greeting. All right, now it's in your energy in rest mode, and we get the draw card. That's pretty busted. And then this thing, the Invasion of Saiyans, is probably one of my favorite cards that when you can pull this off, it feels so good. Like you can go so aggressive towards the end of the game where you have your 5 energy, you've pretty much done everything else, and you have Saiyan only battle cards with a cost of 3 or less in your energy. They've already been used for whatever reason. You play this, it's so good. They just come out to the battlefield. It could be 2 of these. It could be your Vegeta. It could be your Nappa. It could be 2 Nappas, right? If you already have a Vegeta out there. It could be a Raditz, this guy, and then maybe if you have other energy, you can bring something back from your drop and then play that. There's so many options with this deck, and honestly, I just love it for the fact that it's so different for green specifically. We've had so many green leaders back to back to back to back where their whole thing, I mean, look at Piccolo. Piccolo's like, please get to 8 energy or you can't even play the game. And now we have something where it's like, get to 4 and start cooking. So yeah, if you're a fan of green cards, but you're looking for a faster way to play, well then this Prince of Ramp deck pretty much has you covered. All right, now it's time for Majin Buu. And this thing is all about KOing your own cards for some really cool effects in battle that often leave your opponents wondering, what the heck just happened? I'll tell you, that's what happened to me. Let's talk about the leader real quick, where it has the auto ability once per turn. When your battle card with Majin or Evil Wizard in its special traits is KO'd, switch this card or up to one of your energies to active mode. Now, this is probably going to be the only leader that we have in the entire game, I think, where when attacking, it also has a once per turn. Or else this would have been just like, not Vegeta, a Piccolo leader, because they only want you to draw once if you attack with this. They don't want you to use this ability, KO something, swing, restand, get a second draw. That'd be a little too busted, Majin Buu Evil. You better calm down there, buddy. But yeah, this thing is all about KOing its own cards. Now, first off, we have this Majin Buu from set 3. I think you guys remember this barrier guy. It's, yeah, still annoying and still here. Then we have this new 2-drop Pure Evil Majin Buu, where at the end of the turn it KOs itself, but it swings for 30k, which is pretty strong. This is kind of like a late game closer, if you will, if you have it, and it's a 10k combo, not too bad. We have our Friezas to rest your opponent's cards. We have our Sorbates to draw. We have this guy to help us search for our deck for Majins. And now let's talk about the Majins and Evil Wizards. This guy specifically, on play, when you play this, you get to also play a 3-cost Majin from your hand. And then when this card is KO'd, if your opponent has 6 or more cards in their hand, your opponent discards 1 card from their hand. They get to choose, but that's pretty good control, and it's a pretty cheeky ability. Now, when KO'd, that's pretty rough. Like, how do you activate this? Well, good thing you asked. We have this guy right here, where synergizes with that Babidi. It's a 3-cost that you can play based off that 1 card, and now it also has the activate main once per turn. KO one of your own battle cards. You KO the Babidi, right? If you do that, your opponent discards a card. If they have 6 or more in their hand, then you draw a card. Then if your opponent also has 6 or more cards in their hand, they discard another card. So if there's 7 or more, 8 or more, they discard 2 cards that turn if you use this in synergy. Or maybe you want to play this guy right here. This is the one that caught me off guard. I didn't reading is so hard sometimes, you guys. This thing swings for 30k. However, this can't be switched to active mode during your charge phase. So it swings for 30k. You activate your main once per turn, KO one of your own battle cards. You KO the Babidi. Now your opponent discards a card, and then your leader's a Majin. So now this card restands, and you get to swing again for 30, or you get to just hold. It's really up to you. It's kind of nuts. And then we have this 4-drop Son Goku. It's always great to put in a yellow deck. This is such a strong control card. And then we have this guy right here. It's a 10k combo, 30k body, 4 cost vanilla card. You're probably like, why is this here? Well, mainly for this guy. If you don't really draw anything else on play, you play this double striker. You play up to 1 battle card with a cost of 4 or less. Majin Evil Wizard. You have nothing else. Yeah, this Majin Buu is not that bad, actually. We got 4 copies of that. We have 2 copies of the Energy Absorption and 2 copies of the Final Explosion. And look at this, you guys. I got the cool one. I got the cool one. It's beautiful. When you play this during a match, your opponent just stands there stunned in awe, really. But yeah, Majin Buu is kind of terrifying this set. A lot of people were downplaying this guy, this leader. But if you're a yellow player like me, well, then this set is definitely our time to shine with this new leader and the whole Majin special trait gimmick. But now lastly, we have the most busted leader and possibly, yep, I'm gonna say it, guys, best deck in the entire format. Baby Aggro Vegeta. Oh man, where do I even start? This thing is climbing the ladder so fast. All right, let's start with the leader real quick. Awaken, 20k swing, permanent. You can use your rest mode battle cards with Brainwashed or Machine Mutant in their special traits as combos. This is your turn or your opponent's turn. When attacking, you draw a card, right? This ability is so good. Oh my god, where do I even start? Okay, let's start here. Son Goten. Mind you, these have to be in your battle area. You can't combo them from your hand. So that's very important to note. All of these abilities only work if they are already in your battle area and then you're comboing them. So you can swing with this, your leader's awakened, and then you can combo this into your leader or something else to activate this ability. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 4 or less, return it to its hand. Oh, not your cup of tea? Well, what about this guy? Combo this guy after swinging, right? And then add 2 non-Trunks GT Brainwash Machine Mutant cards and their special traits from your drop to your hand. What? Okay. Or how about this guy? Son Gohan GT, draw a card. Then during this turn, the next time you use an extra card with a cost of 2 or less from your hand, it's free. It doesn't cost anything. Oh, what's the 2-cost card? Yeah, the Super Gallic Gun, which gives you plus 25k power for the battle. Then if you have a card in your combo area, which again, the whole strategy is using combos, right? Choose up to 1 battle card with a cost of 3 or less and bounce it back to the owner's hand. It could be your side or your opponent's side, right? We also have this card right here where if you don't have an energy marker, guess what? Now you do by also comboing this from your battle area activate this ability. Also, it helps you self-awaken. I'm trying to go in the proper order of this. And then we have this card where if you have an energy marker or if your opponent has an energy marker, it actually only costs 2 and it's a 10k combo. Glorio from Daima. But also if your opponent's the one who has an energy marker, guess what? You play this, you draw a card. And this is so good because oftentimes this pressures your opponent to use their energy marker earlier, because now they're like, oh crap, if he keeps playing this, they're getting draw, they're getting this huge 25k power body on the board. Like, I kind of don't want them to do that. So this applies so much pressure. All right, what else are we going to talk about first? We have this super baby where you can play up to 1 battle card with a cost of 2 or less, brainwashed machine mutant, which we already went over so many of them, from your hand. And then also when a card is used in combo from your battle area, while this card is in battle, so you have to combo into this card, draw a card, and of course activate any of those abilities. Now, one card we really need to talk about first is this thing here, where baby possessed boy form. This is the last card you want to combo because it literally stops everything else. There's another chain of combos that lets you essentially attack 6 times in a single turn. However, if you play this, you can't really do that. You can't start summoning or playing things from your hand based off those effects, because it says here, then you can't play battle cards for the entire turn. So this is the last thing you want to do. You can play it on the board, but you do not combo this. This is the last thing you combo to activate its ability. We also have the 1-drop searcher right here. We have the Super Sigma. Honestly, this thing, just stay in the drop. You'll see why. Now let's talk about the reason why. General Rildo is, who thought this was a good idea? Self-awaken or 2-drop right here, okay? You swing with this. Mind you, this whole strategy requires at least 2 other battle cards. It could be your leader and 1 other battle card for you to use, and your leader's awakened for this strategy right here to work, right? So you swing with this guy, and now you combo this guy into your second battle card, right? When comboing, you get to bring out hyper meta Rildo. Where is he at? Right here, right? And if you have Super Sigma in your drop, then choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards with a cost of 3 or less, bounce it back to their hand. Now this guy comes out fully active, not rested. You swing with him. And then you not super combo. You combo this into your leader or another battle card. And now you bring this guy out. Like, what? And you can swing with him, or you can just leave him standing as a blocker. Really up to you. Now he does have an ability, when KO, switch 1 field card in your battle area to rest mode, and then play this card from its owner's drop. Not really a thing for this deck, but this deck is about rushing and going super aggressive. And then I think the last card we need to talk about is Grade 8 Baby, where on play you get to also play a 2 cost or less from your hand, and then choose up to 1 battle card with a cost of 3 or less and place it into the owner's combo. This is really good if your opponent has an oppressive ability or like something that's not great on their side, and you can't remove it. You're trying to swing and they're protecting it with everything. For example, it could be their 3-cost Son Gohan that damage reduces on your side by 15k. Well, good news. Swing into the leader, force them to combo that into their leader. It's gone. So this thing is actually kind of cracked. This whole deck, you guys, listen, I'm going to get yelled at for sharing it, but this is definitely the deck to play. So if you want to climb to God rank in literally no time flat, well, then this might be the deck for you this season. But with that, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more quality Fusion World content. Don't forget to like. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.